The Battle of the Diamond, 1776. By 1776, the population of Ulster, Catholic and Protestant, had grown rapidly. Penal laws had been relaxed, restrictions on land exports eased, so demand for land was growing all over the province. Catholics could now purchase land on the same terms as Protestants. This led to the formation of secret societies, like the Peep of Day Boys. Their plan of action consisted of breaking fences, setting crops on fire, stealing cattle. This led to the Battle of the Diamond on the Monaghan-Armagh border, 1776. It happens that this was the general area from which most of the Woodford Ulster men and women originated. Sir Thomas Burke of Marble Hill had put advertisements in the Freeman's Journal, offering land at 5 shillings an acre. The fact that he was a Catholic landlord appealed to them, so many of them sold out and set off for East Galway. They came prepared for all eventualities, bringing all their possessions, with cattle especially shod for the long journey. When they arrived at the foothills of Sliabhachtaí, they were taken aback at the poor quality of land allotted to them. Yet they set to work. They reclaimed barren tracts, removed rocks and heath, and made their little holdings like so many oases in the desert. Tradition has it that they removed the top heathery sods, and, after drying these, burning them, and using the ash as fertilizer. It is believed the ash acted as a blight preventative. This is proven in the famine period 1845 to 1847, as they were able to supply Portumna market with potatoes. Having made the farms productive, the families were annoyed that their rents had been raised because of the improved quality of the land. As a result, they developed a lessening respect for their landlord, now Sir John Burke, who succeeded his father Thomas after his death. Then, at the outbreak of the land agitation, local farmers and the Ulster farmers became firmly united against the abuses of landlordism. Francis Farrell of Ulster stock took up residence in Allandara East, where he purchased a total of 47 acres of land with a valuation of 7.25 shillings. Being wealthy, he took care of neighbouring families who were just struggling. He was a progressive farmer himself, sowing a wide range of crops: potatoes, cabbage, carrots, wheat and flax. Farrell's wealth allowed him to give his family a high standard of education. 2 daughters became nuns and 2 sons became priests. Francis Farrell played a very instrumental part in the land agitation. Like his fellow farmers, he refused to pay when the landlord increased the rent on the farms made fertile by the owners themselves. Francis Farrell could pay the increased demand 20 times over, but that would be letting down his fellow farmers. So, Sir John Burke of Marble Hill initiated eviction process. Extracts from the Freeman's Journal of the period states the following, and I quote, "The whole force then proceeded to the residence of Mr. O'Farrell of Allandara. By the time they reached Allandara, 5,000 persons were present. Cheering was incessant. When the house was reached and possession demanded, O'Farrell offered to pay the full amount only if he got a reduction of 5 shillings in the pound. The sheriff refused, and the work of demolition began. The crowds kept shouting and booing. The police were drawn up in front of the house to restrain the people. The furniture of the kitchen being cleared, Mrs. O'Farrell would not allow any hands but her own to touch the little altar erected in her bedroom. The altar was carefully removed, and on its appearance outside, the crowd became furious. Father Cohn could no longer restrain his feelings, and at the sight of the pretty altar wept like a child. The author of the Freeman's Journal then says, in all his life, he now witnessed an intense feeling of honour and humanity. Mr. O'Farrell, by his action on that day, was doing much to hasten the destruction of that system which has ever been the fruitful source of our poor country. Farrell allowed himself to be evicted, but this eviction was a victory in that the morale of the resistance grew to a level thought unsurmountable by the bailiff Anthony Carroll, so that his next eviction on that day at John McCabe's house was abandoned.